Hey guys, how's it going? It's Al. Dead zone running backs. What is it? What are they? Who are they? What does it mean? And how can we attack it on one site or another? That's everything that I'm going to go over in this particular video. Dead zone running backs typically are defined as running backs drafted between rounds 3 to 6. There's a lot of data pointing at why you should not draft running backs in those rounds. However, I think that things are different based on what site you're drafting on, the scoring system that they use, as well as 2022 kind of looking like it's going to be a different year, one of those outlier years at the position. So are dead zone running backs something that we should still be avoiding, or is that an area that we can find value? We're going to take a look at all of it on this video. So thank you guys for being here. Drop a like on the video, subscribe to the fantasy football channel, hit the notifications bell because I'm going to put out a ton of content on this channel and I need you to know when that comes out, and the share button would be greatly appreciated. So without any further ado, let's go.
He's a legend.
So I got the inspiration for this video from an article I read on establishtheRun.com. So go click the link down in the pinned comment down below, smizzle.tv/ETR, for a 10% discount off of all the great products and content that they have over at Establish the Run. You can get that early bird fantasy DFS bundle where you get all of their rankings for DraftKings Best Ball, Underdog Best Ball, and your season-long league, your home leagues, FFPC, all of the big money leagues are there. You can get their rankings and everything to use, as well as everything that they do during the season for daily fantasy, which is where you get the biggest value out of their products there. Get an additional 10% off by using promo code SMIZLIFE at checkout or just clicking through the link in the pinned comment. So the running back dead zone, as I said in the intro, defined as running backs being chosen in the 3rd through 6th round. So that's basically everybody starting right here now with Javonte Williams and Nick Chubb, going all the way down to pick 72. So everybody down to like Josh Jacobs, Elijah Mitchell, AJ Dillon. It's not that these running backs are all bad and always will be bad. It's just that typically the running backs that are chosen in those rounds are a little bit, they don't perform as well or above expectation as often as wide receivers that are chosen in that same zone. So if I highlight the wide receivers that are picked in that same ADP range, you're looking at Nick Chubb versus AJ Brown, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Michael Pittman, like everybody's superstar who's flown up in terms of ADP, DJ Moore, Marquise Brown, Cortland Sutton, all these superstar wide receivers who go in this range. One, they're less injury prone than or less likely to be hit by injury than running backs, just as the position and the rigors of the position go. You're telling me that the Jets running back, Breece Hall, the rookie, is, I like him in terms of rookies, but like, how many touchdowns are we expecting from the rookie running back on the Jets in that offense? And I'm high on the Jets offense, but like 6-7 touchdowns out of Breece Hall would be outstanding. It's not out of the realm of possibility that somebody like Allen Robinson on the Rams offense could have double-digit touchdowns. So you're seeing that this is a spot where drafting wide receivers tends to be more profitable than drafting running backs in that spot. And the numbers, I'm going to show you this one part from this article. You have to go subscribe to ETR to read the article, I believe. But I'll show you this one little snippet. Average win rate for running backs with an ADP in rounds 7 through 10. Nope, not what I wanted to show. That part out too. So this article is paywalled, but I'm going to show you a little snippet from it. Average win rate for running backs with ADP in rounds 3 to 6, 2017, 8.6, 7.4. 2019 was an outlier year with 9.1, 7.8, 7.4. Average win rate for wide receivers drafted in that same dead zone, pretty much standard 9 to 9.3, 9.1 to 9.3. So you're more likely to win your league by drafting a wide receiver over a running back in those rounds. Now, I'm going to tell you how this is different. This is based on PPR data. This is based on leagues that are full point PPR. Underdog is half point PPR. And based on what Hayden Winks has shown us, last year, running backs fell in terms of ADP on Underdog. Not everybody, but a vast majority of the drafters. Underdog being a very sharp site with high intensity, very locked in drafters on what's going on with the fantasy football community and what are the best ways to put yourself in a position to gain small edges. Everybody was fading running backs and running backs fell. And even this season, running backs being denoted by the green line, running backs are going 6 to 10 picks below where they were going last year. Quarterbacks going earlier, tight ends going earlier through in here, and wide receivers really going early until you get to like round 5 and 6, where they're really going, they go a little bit later and then they pop back up, right? Wide receivers fall off later as everybody's going 0 RB and drafting their running backs at the back end of the draft, because there's so many talented wide receivers based on the fact that, look, the NFL is a passing league at this point. And so if you lock up your wide receivers that are the high volume guys, the 120 plus target projected wide receivers, you have much more chance to win. 3 wide receivers and 1 flex on half-point PPR. But this differs from DraftKings, which is full PPR with bonuses. So I'm much more likely to not draft running backs from rounds 3 to 6 on DraftKings. But I will draft them this season specifically on Underdog because of the guys who are available in those rounds. Now, DraftKings, if you're drafting on DraftKings with full point PPR and bonuses, my suggestion is do not draft more than 2 running backs in the first 9-10 rounds of the draft, right? If you want to go bell cow and chill, if you want to draft 2 heavy guys in the first 2 rounds and then take a whole bunch of wide receivers, tight ends, and quarterbacks for the rest of the first 10, that's my ideal draft style on DraftKings. But on Underdog, I'm much more likely to sprinkle guys in, especially this year. And I'm going to tell you 5 running backs that I'm willing to draft in the dead zone. Number 1, James Conner. We mentioned him in one of our top value plays. If we look back over here on the Underdog Fantasy rankings, you can see he's all the way at the top there in terms of pick 33. So he's right in the middle to the end of round 3. James Conner is right now unquestioned in the amount of volume that he's going to get on this very talented Arizona Cardinals offense. He's going to get passing down work, which he did not get last year until Chase Edmonds got injured, and then he got more than enough to make him an extremely viable week in, week out candidate. Even in half PPR, if you get 3-4 catches, that kind of buoys your floor with the yards that you're going to accrue, not just on the ground, but through the air. Gives them more of a chance of 100 yards from scrimmage. No bonuses on Underdog. But yeah, it can affect him on DraftKings, where you want the guy who's going to get 25 carries on the ground because of the fact that he's going to get that 3-point bonus. But if you give me 3-4 catches a week, that's 3-4 points in full PPR also. So James Conner, a dead zone running back that I am very willing to draft this season. Ezekiel Elliott, people are torn on him. And I get it, right? There's this philosophy, there's this errant philosophy that Ezekiel Elliott is old. Ezekiel Elliott is 1 year older than Tony Pollard. Well, I'd much rather go with the younger Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard's 1 year younger than Ezekiel Elliott. It's not like Ezekiel Elliott is an old running back. Ezekiel Elliott was also injured last year for the majority of the year, playing on a hurt knee. So as inefficient as he was last year, as gimpy as he looked, as slow as he looked, his cuts weren't right, he had a messed up knee that required surgery and rest, still scored 12 touchdowns, even with that jacked up knee. And even with Tony Pollard, who, look, I believe, and the metrics show, that he is a more efficient and more talented on a per play basis running back than is Ezekiel Elliott. But if you have a franchise that is not willing to play that more efficient running back over the less efficient Ezekiel Elliott, I want the guy in fantasy who is just going to be on the field and get all the snaps and touches and inside the 5 carries and still get a good amount of targets every single game. Ezekiel Elliott is a perfect fantasy running back, and considering that his ADP is like 39 right now, like 40.3 of the most updated ADP. They update these constantly on Underdog. It's not like once a week, it's like every day they update them. So like right now you're getting him at pick 40. That's absurd to get the amount of, you're drafting him at his floor. Still, like, he was going in the range where Saquon Barkley was going, and Saquon Barkley has moved way up now into the middle of the second round, and Ezekiel Elliott's still there. Leonard Fournette also was being drafted at his floor earlier in draft season, right around these picks, 35 to 45, and he has shot up, but Ezekiel Elliott stays down here because everybody wants Tony Pollard to be the guy. Everybody wants to see Ezekiel Elliott fall off in the fantasy football community. They much prefer the more efficient Tony Pollard to be the guy, but you know what? It doesn't matter what I want. It matters what the teams are willing to put on the field. And Ezekiel Elliott is the guy that the Cowboys are going to put on the field and give every single chance to succeed every single game. So the touchdown upside is here. His knee is healthy once again. They're going to play him. and he's going to dominate. You're drafting him at his absolute cheapest. A top 10 running back season is not out of the question. He's being drafted as, let's see, what was he being drafted as? The running back 17. Yeah, I can get a lot of profit out of that pick. The next running back we're going to pick, now this one's going to take a little bit of faith on your part that Alvin Kamara is not going to get suspended, but Kamara is basically a first round pick, right? Like, he'd be a top 7, top 8 pick if there was no case looming, if there was no possible suspension looming based on that court case. We're not going to get into exactly what it is. We all know what happened, but we're not going to get into it. The league is probably going to suspend him, but the league doesn't typically act on these things until after the courts have gotten done with it. So if the court's not going to get done with it until the season, we may escape Alvin Kamara getting suspended in this season. So if he plays every game, if he doesn't get hurt, if he plays 15, 16, 17 games, he is a 7-8 overall pick. Right now, he's going in the middle to late third round, almost at the 3-4 turn. So you're getting a lot of value here because of the uncertainty based on the possible suspension. If he is suspended for 2, 4, or 6 games, yeah, you're going to take a little bit of a hit in terms of your overall value, but you're, again, buying him at cost, especially in full PPR, and not as bad in Underdog as well, where it's half PPR with no bonuses. The effect that he can have on this offense is tremendous. We've seen it in the past. You're getting a big value on him. You're getting a big discount, and it just depends on what you can stomach. He was going in the second round. He's fallen almost 2 full rounds at this point. It's right about the point where I'm willing to buy and take that chance that he does not get suspended, because the amount of profit that you would see on your teams is outstanding. Travis Etienne, another running back in this pass-catching running back mold. Now, if I'm going to buy dead zone running back, it's going to be guys that are going to get a majority of the red zone targets and touches inside the 5 touches. There is nobody challenging Travis Etienne right now. Now, I understand if you don't believe that the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to be a hyper-talented, super high-scoring offense. Now, I do think that this team is going to take a step forward. One, now that the Urban Meyer circus has left town, B, you have another year under and an offseason under Trevor Lawrence. I do believe that he is going to be a talented quarterback in this league, and talented quarterbacks tend to run good offenses. And if that happens, Travis Etienne is going to be a big part of it, because pass-catching running back, we're assuming that he's going to get a similar workload to, let's say, I'm not trying to comp him to these guys, but a Christian McCaffrey, Alvin Kamara, 12 to 14 carry, 4 to 7 targets a game sort of workload. I'm not looking for Travis Etienne to get 22, 25 carries and 10 targets a game. It's not happening. But if he gets that Alvin Kamara 12 to 14 carries and 5 to 8 targets a game, it's extremely valuable, especially considering his current ADP, which has actually gone way up, and he's at the point where he might fall out of it, where he's around 35 in terms of his ADP right now, where he was in the 50s, low 50s at the beginning of draft season. He's kind of skyrocketed a little bit. I specifically like him more on DraftKings than I do on Underdog. Underdog being half PPR with no bonuses, and more specifically targeting guys with touchdown upside, where I don't think that there are many paths to Travis Etienne being a 10-plus touchdown running back. He might get there. He might be super efficient in the passing game, and maybe this Jaguars team takes a big step forward offensively, but the chances of that are a little bit slim. Everything would have to go your way for that to happen, but he has a very good floor based on his yardage and touch potential, opportunity potential in the passing game. So Travis Etienne, another dead zone running back that I think is going to be there. And J.K. Dobbins doesn't have the pass catching ability of the guys that I listed, the other 4 running backs that I listed on this video, but the Baltimore Ravens are going to be a running team. Shocker. And they're going to be a better offense this year with Lamar Jackson back from injury, as opposed to him missing half the season last year. We've seen something similar to this when Lamar posted his MVP season. Now, I don't need an MVP season out of him for this to happen, but Mark Ingram had 15 touchdowns that year. I believe it was 2019, where he just was in the end zone constantly because that team scores so many touchdowns a game and move the ball down the field so many times. You're not going to get the floor from the pass game. You're not going to get that steady free PPR points and yardage, but J.K. Dobbins is going to get a lot of opportunities inside the 5 and inside the 10. He's going to get 15 to 22 touches a game. So the opportunities will be there. And the chance for him, if you said if you could bet, let's say in the DraftKings Sportsbook or FanDuel Sportsbook, wherever you like to do your sports betting, if your state does allow that, check out the odds for J.K. Dobbins to lead the league in terms of rushing touchdowns. That could actually get there. I'm not saying it will get there, but we're looking for value players, and J.K. Dobbins, one of those guys at the back end of the dead zone here. He's sitting at 58th. If you're telling me I can get a potential league leader in terms of rushing touchdowns at the 58th pick, I'm buying that every single day. Dead zone be damned, right? Now look, again, if you're drafting on DraftKings, you have to be very specific about your draft style because of the scoring system. The dead zone is very real when it comes to full PPR leagues, but in half PPR, it does not matter as much. You can take any draft style that you want into a half PPR with no bonuses league and still have an expectation of winning. You're not grinding out that really small edge because it's a lot more muddled on Underdog than it is on DraftKings. DraftKings, definitely ignore the running backs. Focus in on drafting wide receivers from rounds 3 through 6. Go for the bell cows if you want at the top, or go full zero RB and don't draft a running back till the 7th plus round. But on Underdog Fantasy, anything goes. Take the players that fit your stacks, correlate your lineups to win tournaments, and don't be as afraid of the running back dead zone on Underdog Fantasy or any half PPR leagues that you are drafting in 2022, because you're getting a lot of value based on the way that the super sharp drafters on Underdog are drafting, pushing down ADPs of 250 and 300 touch potential running backs in that zone. Way different than past years where you were looking at guys like Mike Davis being drafted in the dead zone, who could easily lose a job. These guys, barring injury, do project to hold on to their jobs and score a solid amount of fantasy points a week to help your teams win when other people aren't willing to draft that way. So zig when others zag, and check out another video right there.
He's a legend.